Do you want to know secrets that candle makers don't tell you? These are things I wish I knew when I first started candle making. Trust me, they will save you so much time and wax. If you're new here, my name is Serene, owner of Serene Aromas, where we talk about candle making and self-care. Make sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for all videos to come. Let's get into the video. First up, temperature is everything. I'm talking the temperature that you melt your wax to, add your fragrance into your wax, pour your wax into your container, and even the temperature of the room that you're in when you're making your candles. All of these are going to affect how your candle comes out in the end and whether you have to do extra work to make your candle look better. Basically, you need to melt your wax to no more than 200 degrees Fahrenheit to make sure that the wax is not burning, which is going to affect how it looks along with how it burns when you're finished with your candle. When you're adding your fragrance into your candle, you're going to add it to 185 degrees Fahrenheit, but no more than the flash point of the candle fragrance that you have. This is going to be in the details provided to you by the company you bought your fragrance from. The flash point is going to be the temperature where the fragrance completely burns off and you're not able to smell it. So you want to avoid that temperature altogether so your candle smells good and you don't waste your fragrance oil. The pour temperature is going to vary for each and every single candle wax out there. You're going to focus on the temperature that's recommended to you by the company you bought your wax from. I highly recommend that you follow those temperatures because that's going to prevent crumbling tops, uneven surfaces, wet spots, and even sinkholes that you may not even see when your candle's set. Once you're done pouring your candle, there's the cooling temperature. This is going to make sure that your candle cools down evenly and slowly so it can also prevent those sinkholes and crumbled tops like I mentioned before. The rule of thumb when it comes to your cooling temperature is going to be for you to have your candles in a warmer room so that the temperature cools down evenly and slowly. Keep your AC and your fans off and away from your candles. Overall, make sure you check the temperatures for each and every single step that you're making your candle, because if it is too hot, some things might burn, and if it is too cool, you're gonna have to do extra work. The next secret is quality is important. I cannot emphasize this enough. As you should already know, not all waxes are created equal. Not all fragrance oils are created for candle making. Not all dyes are created for candle making. Not all jars are recommended for candle making. All of those things are going to be very important for you to focus on when you're selecting them from different companies. For your candle wax, what I recommend you do is buy small batches that will help you create small little candles that you can test throughout your home, just so you can have a better experience when it comes to saving money and having different things to work with. Same thing applies to your fragrance oils. If you're making scented candles, you have to select fragrance oils that are specifically meant for candle making and are very high grade. What I recommend is for you to select small little batches, as little as maybe 2 ounces, or simply based on what the company has to offer. If you want more, you can always purchase more. But starting small is very important just because you don't want to waste your fragrance oils because they expire after a certain period of time. And if you don't like a scent specifically, you don't have much that's going to waste. When you're selecting your candle jars, you have to select very high heat resistant candle jars. These can be tins or very thick glasses, just because you don't want your candle to crack or break or even explode when you're burning your candle. If you want more information on the candle waxes, your candle fragrances, or even the jars, I will link these other videos down for you below. And when it comes to your fragrance being added into your candle wax, I want you to mix that in there for at least 2 minutes. This is gonna make sure that your candle wax and your fragrance incorporate together without leaving one specific spot with all of the fragrance oil that you've added. And yes, when I say 2 minutes, I mean set a timer and mix that fragrance in there very slowly. Next is testing. I want you to know that testing is essential. It is one thing that you cannot skip. This step is important for your candle fragrance, for you to smell whether it is strong enough for the candle that you've you've made, but it is also super important for the candle wick that you've selected for your candle. This is one of the most tricky parts when it comes to candle making, because one wick can be good enough for this specific candle, but it may also tunnel in the next candle. So you're gonna have to test your candle wicks for each and every single scent, each and every single wax, and each and every single jar. Keep in mind that wick size changes everything when the candle is burning. So if your candle is not burning properly and it's tunneling straight down the middle, you may have to size up in the candle wick that you have, or even use the double wicking trick, which is basically where you add an extra wick into your candle as opposed to sizing up. This is especially handy when it comes to bigger size candle jars if you don't want to purchase more wicks. And with that said, I want you to keep a candle log. This is going to be where you keep track of everything that you're doing for your candle. You're going to write down your candle wax, your fragrance percentage, the temperatures that you use, and even the wick size. This is going to help you figure out what works and what doesn't, and it's going to prevent you from making the same mistake over and over again, because now you have a trail that shows you exactly what you've done in the past to help you in the future. And if you don't already have it, I want you to purchase a heat gun today. This is going to help you fix those issues that you've experienced with your candle, like crumbled tops, uneven surfaces, sinkholes, because once you do have that heat gun, you can just go back over your candle and fix those issues easily. Not only that, if you have a heat gun, you can warm up your jars before you pour your candle into the jar, because a candle jar that is cold is going to cause frosting and all those sinkholes, because your wax is going to cool down way faster than it needs to. So make sure you get yourself a heat gun. And if you don't want to spend that money, I also recommend that you use a hair dryer, because they serve the same purposes. It's just going to take you a little bit longer as opposed to the heat gun. Another trick for you is to label your candles after you've poured them into the jar. That way, if you have any spills or any mistakes that you make, they don't go onto the label and you don't have the stress of having to remove something sticky from a jar. This is something I personally learned the hard way, just because I made the mistake of spilling some wax a few times on top of my candle jars, which of course ran down the side of the candle jar. So I had to go and remove the labels, which was super annoying and took a very long time. And then of course, your fragrance to your wax ratio. This is going to vary for each and every single wax out there, but the rule of thumb is going to be anywhere from 6% up to 12%. I wouldn't recommend that you go as far as 12% when you're first starting. You may think that having more fragrance into your candle wax is going to make it smell better, but the reality is that's not true. Some fragrances are more dense, so when you add more into the candle wax, your candle wicks are going to be snuffed out by all of the material that the candle has in it. What I would recommend is for you to find that halfway point that is recommended to you by your company. So if your company recommends anywhere from 6 to 10%, what I would recommend is for you to start maybe at 8% to find out if that works for the fragrance that you have. This is not only going to save you some time, but it's also going to save you a lot of money, because you're not wasting too much fragrance oil. Another secret for you is how you test your candle wicks. Now, there are several different methods out there. My personal favorite is for me to melt as much wax as I possibly can, pouring that into an old baking dish and adding wicks into that dish so that I can test multiple at a time. This is going to give you a rough estimate of how big your candle wick burns. Another method is for you to make a candle without a wick, poking a hole in the center where the wick should go, and using your heat gun to melt the wax around the wick, trim the wick, and burn your candle and see how it works. That way, if the wick doesn't work for that specific candle, you can easily pull it out, insert another wick, and repeat the process. This way, you're able to test out the fragrance oil, the candle wick, the candle jar, the burning temperature, and all of those things that you should be testing for when you're making a new candle. So these are some of the secrets that I've personally learned over the years from my 5 years experience of candle making. I hope they were helpful for you as a beginner, and I want you to keep in mind is that no handmade candle is 100% perfect. This is what makes them special and what attracts people to your business. So focus on consistency and quality as opposed to perfection. Keep in mind that as long as you have a heat gun, you can fix just about everything. Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more to come in the future. Until next time. Bye.